A woman will never feel bad for hurting a man who keeps chasing. She won't regret her actions if she knows she still controls your emotions. The moment you start explaining, complaining, or chasing closure, you hand her all the power. But when you go silent, that's when the game changes. Men have been lied to for years, taught to communicate, to express their feelings, to seek understanding. But let's be real. When a woman disrespects you, she already knew what she was doing. She made a choice, and the last thing she's expecting is for you to respond with absolute silence. That's what makes it so powerful. Silence is a statement. It says, I am not begging. I am not explaining. I am not giving you access to my emotions. It forces her to question her actions, to sit with the consequences, and most importantly, to wonder if she ever truly had you in the first place. This isn't about playing childish games. It's about shifting the power dynamic. A woman cannot manipulate a man who refuses to react. And the men who master this, they become untouchable. In this video, I'll break down exactly why silence is the ultimate punishment, how to use it effectively, and the psychological effect it has on a woman who thought she could treat you like an option. If you've ever been disrespected, betrayed, or undervalued, this is your wake-up call. Let's get into it. 1. Silence exposes her true feelings. Most men don't realize that silence is the ultimate truth serum. When you stop talking, stop explaining, and stop chasing, a woman's real emotions come to the surface. If she truly cares, she'll feel the absence and respond. If she never valued you in the first place, she'll move on without hesitation. Either way, silence gives you the answer you need without having to beg for it. Women are highly emotional and thrive on attention. When you cut off communication, you take away the thing she needs most, your presence. This is where her real feelings start to show. If she was just using you for validation, she'll quickly seek it elsewhere. If she genuinely had feelings for you, she'll start feeling the loss and react. Most men make the mistake of constantly seeking reassurance. They ask questions, demand explanations, and keep reaching out. But when you go silent, you force her to confront her own emotions. She has to sit with the fact that you are no longer giving her the attention she once took for granted. That's when you see her true colors. For example, let's say you've been talking to a woman for months, investing your time and energy. Then suddenly she starts pulling away, taking longer to respond, making excuses, or acting distant. The average man will panic, ask what's wrong, and try harder. But the man who understands power? He goes completely silent. No texts, no calls, no reactions. At first, she might act like she doesn't care. But as time passes, the silence eats at her. If she actually respected you, she'll reach out, check on you, or try to reopen communication. But if she was never truly interested, she'll disappear without hesitation. And that's your answer, without any argument, begging, or wasted energy. Silence eliminates the guessing game. Instead of wondering what she feels, you let her actions tell you. A woman who cares will feel your absence and act accordingly. A woman who never valued you will see your silence as an opportunity to move on to her next source of attention. Either way, you win. By staying quiet, you shift the power dynamic. She no longer controls the pace, you do. And that's what separates a man of substance from the rest. 2. She can't handle being ignored. Women crave attention. It's their fuel, their validation, their source of power. The moment you go silent, you take that power away. And let's be real. Most women can't handle that. When a woman hurts you and expects you to react, ignoring her is the last thing she sees coming. That's what makes it so effective. A woman thrives on knowing she has influence over you. If she disrespects you and you respond with anger, frustration, or even begging, she wins. Why? Because she still has control over your emotions. But when you ignore her, you disrupt the game. She starts questioning herself. She starts wondering why you're not reacting. And most importantly, she starts feeling the loss. Silence makes a woman uncomfortable. It creates an emotional void, and that void makes her anxious. She'll start asking herself, why isn't he chasing me? Did I lose him? Is he moving on? The unknown drives her crazy. That's when she starts reaching out, trying to pull you back in. Because deep down, she can't stand the idea of losing your attention. Most men don't realize just how much women depend on reactions. Whether it's love, frustration, or even anger, any form of response reassures her that she still has an effect on you. That's why she might try to trigger you, just to see if you'll crack. If you fall for it, she keeps the upper hand. But when you maintain your silence, she loses control. That's when she starts questioning herself instead of you. Let's say you've been seeing a woman who suddenly starts acting distant. She takes longer to reply to messages, cancels plans, and seems less engaged. Most men panic. They ask if something's wrong. They try harder. They send long messages looking for answers. But the man who understands power, he does the opposite. He disappears. No explanations, no complaints, just silence. At first, she might act like she doesn't care. She might even try to prove that she's unbothered. She may post pictures, act like she's having the time of her life, or even mention other men to get a reaction. But give it time. When a woman is used to your attention, the absence of it becomes unbearable. She starts checking her phone more often. She wonders why you stopped reaching out. She may even post things online, hoping you'll react. And if she truly had an interest in you, she'll eventually crack and reach out. Ignoring a woman is not about playing games, it's about taking back control. She needs to know that you're not an option she can pick up whenever she feels like it. When you stay silent, you send the clearest message possible. You will not be disrespected. And that, right there, is what makes her crave your attention more than ever. 3. Silence forces her to reflect on her actions. When a woman hurts you, she often expects a reaction: anger, frustration, or even pleading. She knows that as long as you respond, she still has space in your mind. That's why the most powerful move you can make is to do nothing at all. Silence is what forces her to sit with her own choices. It makes her face the consequences of her actions without the comfort of your validation or emotional response. Most men don't realize that women rarely self-reflect when they know they still have control over a situation. If you argue, chase, or demand explanations, she doesn't have to think about what she did wrong. She only has to react to you. But when you go completely silent, all that energy is redirected inward. She's left alone with her own thoughts, and that's when doubt starts creeping in. She'll replay the situation in her mind, trying to figure out why you suddenly disappeared. Was she too harsh? Did she push you too far? Did she overplay her hand? The longer your silence lasts, the more these questions start to consume her. She won't have the reassurance of your attention to distract her from the truth. And deep down, she'll begin to wonder if she made a mistake. This is where silence becomes your greatest weapon. It shifts the dynamic from her feeling in control to her feeling uncertain. And uncertainty is uncomfortable. She may start to rethink everything, questioning whether she misjudged your value. She might even convince herself that she acted too hastily and regret her actions. Women are emotional by nature, and their emotions are heavily influenced by external feedback. When you remove yourself as a source of attention, the silence becomes deafening. She starts noticing the void where your presence used to be. If she was used to your texts, your calls, your presence, it all suddenly stops. And that absence will weigh on her far more than any words ever could. Silence makes her reflect because it offers no reassurance, no explanations, and no closure. She is left alone with nothing but her own thoughts, forced to sit with the realization that she might have underestimated your value. And that realization, it can be more powerful than any argument, discussion, or emotional plea. By choosing silence, you reclaim your self-respect. You force her to face the reality of her own actions without interference. And whether she reaches out or not, one thing is certain: she will never forget how your silence made her feel. 4. She starts to doubt herself. Women operate with confidence when they believe they have control over a man's emotions. When she hurts you, she expects a reaction: anger, frustration, or even pleading. The moment you show any of that, she feels validated, because it reassures her that she still has influence over you. But silence? That's what makes her question everything. At first, she might act unbothered. She may continue living her life as if nothing happened, posting pictures, spending time with friends, or even flirting with other men to make it seem like she's moved on. But deep down, something starts to shift. The longer you remain silent, the more doubt begins to creep into her mind. Did she miscalculate? Did she overestimate her value? Did she push too far? This is where the real power of silence comes into play. A woman's confidence is built on external validation. She relies on knowing that men are paying attention to her, that she still holds power over them. But when you refuse to engage, that confidence starts to crumble. She doesn't have the reassurance of your emotions anymore. She's left alone with nothing but her thoughts, and that's when the self-doubt begins. She'll start questioning herself in ways she never expected. Was I wrong for what I did? Why hasn't he responded? Why isn't he fighting for me? Women are not used to men walking away without a fight. They expect reactions. They expect men to prove themselves. But when a man removes himself completely, it creates a type of confusion that eats away at her. She won't know if she misjudged your value or if you've already moved on, and that uncertainty will consume her. The beauty of silence is that it forces her to reflect. If you had argued with her or demanded answers, she would have focused on defending herself, justifying her actions, or even blaming you. But since you gave her nothing, her mind has no distractions. The only thing left is the truth, her own behavior and its consequences. As time goes on, she will feel the weight of your absence. She'll remember the way you carried yourself, the way you handled things, and the fact that you didn't beg for her attention. And that's when regret starts to set in. She starts realizing that maybe she was the one who made a mistake. Maybe she was too harsh. Maybe she lost someone of true value. Silence makes her doubt not just the situation, but herself. And once doubt enters her mind, she starts seeing you differently. You are no longer the man chasing her. You are the man she now has to figure out how to reach. 5. Silence forces her to chase you. Women are naturally drawn to what they can't fully have. The moment something becomes uncertain, their interest spikes. That's why silence is so effective. It creates the exact type of mystery and unpredictability that forces a woman to start chasing you. Most men don't realize this, but a woman only chases what she fears losing. If she knows that you're always available, that you'll always be there no matter how she treats you, she won't feel the need to put in any effort. But when you go silent, that certainty disappears. She's no longer sure if she has you, and that uncertainty makes her start working to regain your attention. At first, she might act like she doesn't care. She may pretend to be unaffected, or even try to make it seem like she's happier without you. But deep down, your silence is already doing its work. She starts wondering why you haven't reached out. Why haven't you reacted? Why aren't you trying to fix things? The longer you stay silent, the more these questions grow in her mind. She will try to test you. She might post things online to get a reaction, act extra friendly with other men, or even send a casual message to see if you'll break your silence. But here's the key. You do nothing. The more she tries and fails to get a response, the more her frustration builds. That's when she realizes that she's not in control anymore. You are. This is the moment when the shift happens. She starts thinking about you more. She starts wondering if she made a mistake. And if you continue to hold your ground, she will start chasing. She'll find ways to reconnect, whether directly or indirectly. Maybe she randomly checks in on you. Maybe she suddenly likes an old post of yours. Or maybe she outright tells you she misses you. This is how silence turns the tables. Instead of you trying to prove your worth to her, she now feels like she has to prove something to you. That's a powerful position to be in, because now You get to decide whether she even deserves your attention again. When a man masters silence, he stops being the one who chases and becomes the one who is chased. And once you experience that shift, you'll never go back to giving away your power again. 6. She will test you. Stay silent. If you think a woman will just accept your silence and move on, you're mistaken. Women will test you. They want to see if your silence is real or just an act. And this is where most men fail. Instead of holding their ground, they fold under pressure. They take the bait and respond, proving that their silence was never true strength. It was just a weak attempt at manipulation. This is where men need to wake up. Women are not going to make it easy for you to walk away. They know exactly how to get under your skin. She might text you casually like nothing happened, just to see if you'll bite. She might send a message that seems like an accidental text. She might even go to extremes, posting things online meant to make you jealous, suddenly being active with other men, or acting like she's moved on overnight. All of this is a test. She's not doing it because she's genuinely over you. She's doing it to see if you are truly over her. And here's the part most men fail to understand. The moment you react, you lose. Women respect strength, and silence is the ultimate display of strength. If she does something that's clearly meant to provoke a reaction, and you give her exactly what she wants, she knows she still has you. She knows you're still emotionally attached. That's why staying silent isn't just a tactic. It's a mindset. You have to be willing to let her go. You have to be willing to sit with the discomfort and not reach out. If she texts you, ignore it. If she posts something trying to get your attention, let it go. If she acts like she doesn't care, believe her. The moment you start playing into her games, she wins. This is where real discipline comes in. Men who lack self-control will always fall for these tricks. They'll convince themselves that answering just once won't hurt, that responding to her jealousy post will teach her a lesson. But all it does is prove that she still has control. Wake up. If you truly want to shift the power dynamic, if you want to be the kind of man who commands respect, then stop taking the bait. Let her test you. Let her wonder. Let her feel the weight of your absence. Because when she realizes you won't break, that's when she starts chasing. 7. The more you speak, the less she respects you. Most men talk way too much. They think that if they just explain themselves, argue their point, or express their feelings, a woman will suddenly understand and respect them more. But the harsh truth is this: the more you talk, the less she respects you. Why? Because words are cheap. Women don't respect what a man says, they respect what a man does. And when you keep talking, explaining, and justifying yourself, you're showing insecurity, not strength. Think about it. Have you ever seen a truly confident man begging for a woman's understanding? Do powerful, respected men waste their breath trying to convince someone of their worth? No. They let their actions speak for them. They don't chase, they don't argue, and they definitely don't waste time proving a point to someone who doesn't appreciate them. But weak men do. Weak men plead, over-explain, and try to get a woman to see their side. They go on long rants, write paragraphs, or beg for closure. And the moment a woman senses this energy, her respect for that man drops instantly. Here's the reality. A woman knows exactly what she's doing when she hurts you. She knows when she's being disrespectful, playing games, or testing your limits. So when you sit there explaining yourself, you're doing nothing but giving her power. She doesn't care about your words. She's watching your actions. If a woman treats you poorly and you respond by explaining why it hurt you, you've already lost. She should already know that disrespect isn't acceptable. She should already see your value. The fact that you're explaining it to her means she never truly respected you in the first place. A high-value man understands this. He doesn't waste time arguing or seeking validation. He simply walks away. He lets his silence do the talking. He lets his absence be the lesson. And because of that, a woman can't help but respect him. Men need to wake up to this. If you want a woman's respect, stop talking so much. Stop giving away your power with unnecessary words. Let her feel your silence. Let her feel what it's like to lose access to you. Because when you master this, you won't just gain her respect. You'll gain control over your own emotions, your own boundaries, and your own self-worth. When to walk away for good. There comes a point when silence is no longer just a strategy. It's a final decision. Some men think silence is only a tool to make a woman miss them, but the real power lies in knowing when to walk away permanently. Not as a game, not as a test, but as a declaration of self-respect. Too many men waste time waiting for a woman to change, hoping she'll suddenly realize his value. But here's the truth. If a woman has disrespected you, betrayed you, or treated you as an option, she has already made her choice. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she did it anyway. At that point, it's not about making her regret it. It's about you refusing to tolerate it. A woman will always try to keep the door open. Even if she doesn't want you, she'll want to know you're still an option. She'll reach out casually, pretend to care, or try to manipulate you back into her life just to keep her ego satisfied. But a man who truly values himself doesn't fall for that. He doesn't settle for breadcrumbs. He doesn't entertain someone who has already shown she isn't worthy of him. Walking away for good is about more than just her. It's about you. It's about choosing your peace over drama, your self-worth over validation, and your future over the past. It's about understanding that the right woman will never make you feel like you have to beg for her love, chase her approval, or prove your worth. Men need to wake up to this. A woman who truly cares about you won't put you in a position where you have to question your value. She won't play games, test your patience, or wait until you pull away to suddenly show interest. A woman who is worth your time will recognize your value before you go silent, not after. So, when do you walk away for good? When you realize that your silence isn't about getting her back, it's about getting yourself back. When you understand that no amount of time, words, or effort can change a woman who has already shown you who she is. And when you decide that the only person who truly deserves your attention, energy, and respect is you, that's the moment you win. That's the moment you reclaim your power. And that's the moment you walk away, without looking back. Let's be brutally honest. If a woman disrespects you, and the only way to get her attention is through silence, she was never truly interested in you to begin with. A man who commands respect doesn't need to play games. He doesn't need to pull back just to get a reaction. The right woman will respect you without having to manipulate her into it. So if you find yourself constantly using silence as a way to keep a woman interested, ask yourself, why are you even entertaining someone who needs to be punished just to treat you right? This is where most men fail. They think silence is a strategy, but in reality, it should be a filter. A filter that separates the women who truly value you from the ones who only care when they feel like they're losing you. And if she only shows interest when she feels you slipping away, that tells you everything you need to know. Men, the power has always been yours. The only question is, are you strong enough to use it? Let's talk about it. Drop a comment below. Have you ever gone silent on a woman and seen her behavior change? Did she come back? Or did she prove she never cared? I'll be reading every response. Let's build a real conversation.